Society is this grand experiment of human civilization where apparently the way you stand in an elevator could determine your worth as a person. Have you ever noticed the dead-eyed stare we all adopt when those metallic doors slide shut? It's like we're all rehearsing for a zombie apocalypse, but instead of eating brains, we're just avoiding eye contact. Because in the grand hierarchy of human priorities, pretending no one else exists is just beneath don't die. You walk into a crowded subway, no seats left, fine, you've trained for this. But then the unwritten rules start creeping in. Don't stand too close to anyone, but also don't look like you're avoiding people. Hold the pole, but don't grip it like you're holding on for dear life. Nothing screams I'm barely functioning like a white-knuckled grip. And then there's that moment of dread when the person next to you sneezes. The protocol says, stare blankly ahead and pretend you didn't feel the wet particles of their existence hit your arm, because acknowledging it is social suicide. Instead, you suppress the primal urge to scream why and just stew in the collective agreements that we're all living in a fragile, sneeze-covered ecosystem of silent suffering. Let's rewind time now to the 90s, but much further back to our caveman ancestors. Picture this, a group of early humans gathered around the fire trying to survive harsh conditions. What kept them together wasn't just brute force or strength or sharp tools. It was politeness. You don't survive in a tribe by offending the guy with the biggest club or chewing loudly during a feast. So naturally, evolution favored the polite. Ever notice how when you're in a group, you start acting like everyone else, sometimes without even realizing it? That's not just a coincidence, it's called herd mentality, and it's at the heart of why we cling to these unwritten rules. Social psychologists have studied how people adjust their behavior to blend in with the group. Basically, we're all part of these little herds, and no one wants to be the one goat that wanders off, chewing their pizza crust first while everyone else folds it neatly. It's not about survival anymore, it's about belonging. The unwritten rules are like secret handshakes, little signals that let everyone else know, hey, I'm one of you. You think you're just silently standing in an elevator like a normal person, but what you're really doing is sending out a social signal. Don't worry, I follow the same weird rules as you. And when everyone else in the elevator complies with these bizarre behaviors, it reinforces the idea that this is how you're supposed to act. Social identity theory explains it even further. We define ourselves by the groups we belong to, whether it's our culture, workplace, or even just a random crowd of commuters. And guess what? Each group has its own set of rituals and unspoken laws. Step outside those and you risk being seen as an outsider, someone who doesn't get it. Sure, it's not technically wrong, but everyone is going to look at you like you've missed the memo. But why do we follow these ridiculous unwritten rules like our lives depend on them? Well, because life itself is nothing more than a series of social contracts, held together by mutual fear of public embarrassment. So if you think about it, every time you silently agree not to ask the guy next to you why he's eating a taco sideways, you're saving humanity from total collapse. No pressure though. What else can signify the strange harmony of a soul long bound by invisible chains, chains of custom, of expectation, and the unyielding demand of propriety? Chains so delicately woven into the fabric of existence that to tear them free would be to unmake the self. And in these chains we walk with hands bowed, yielding to rituals no one speaks of, but all follow. The gaze that avoids contact, the silence shared between strangers, the compulsion to nod and smile at hollow words, to move in step with others, never stepping too far out of line. Are these not the rights of a world bound by the unspoken? This entire dance of compliance, this absurd adherence to codes no one wrote but all obey, can only be understood as a celebration of the familiar, a relief from the vast yawning void of meaninglessness. It is the comfort of knowing where to stand, how to speak, how to be. It is the triumph of the herd, of order over chaos, the eternal return of our need to fit in, even when that need strips us of our essence. And so the cycle continues, forever repeated, forever endured, forever embraced with the tenderness we give to that which enslaves us, yet also sustains us. We laugh, we sigh, we mock these unwritten laws, but deep down we know to abandon them would be to stand alone on the precipice of the unknown. One of the key solutions lies in balancing when to follow these social norms and when to break free. It's not about rejecting the rules entirely, but about knowing how to navigate them wisely. Fromm, a social psychologist and philosopher, argued that modern society often forces people to conform to avoid feelings of isolation or insignificance. But while it can feel safer to follow the crowd, true freedom comes from the ability to make independent decisions. Fromm suggests cultivating a balance between societal expectations and personal authenticity. learning to follow social norms without letting them define you. Choose moments to consciously resist absurd societal rules, but do so thoughtfully. If standing in line is necessary, accept it. But if small talk feels unnecessary and draining, allow yourself to opt out politely. Camus encourages questioning the rules instead of blindly following them or rebelling aimlessly. Emerson's self-reliance is a rallying cry for individuality in the face of societal pressure. He writes, "Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist." Emerson argues that following societal expectations too strictly can stifle personal growth and creativity. He suggests that one must rely on their own instincts, even if it means rejecting some social conventions. When societal pressure becomes overwhelming, grounding yourself in the present moment can help reduce feelings of stress. Mindfulness practices allow you to observe your discomfort without being consumed by it. The ultimate solution is knowing when to follow the rules and when to break them. As you navigate the delicate dance of societal expectations, take wisdom from both philosophy and psychology.